board, how you feel about it. We have an issue to discuss regarding live streaming board meeting, and we also have board discussions with meeting protocols and public communicating. Can we move those all together and kind of have a general discussion on them? Are we okay with that idea?
Yes.
All right, so then let's start with meeting protocols. I put that on the agenda because I am guilty. I tend to ask questions of staff, you know, in a joshing way or trying to get to it. That's not the best way to handle it. And so again, I just want to remind everybody that we are better served by having them come down. You know, if we have a question, let's see if we can call them down in an appropriate way. Let's ask them our question. I think it's better in terms of following that if it's an item that's on the agenda, we've talked about it, if at all possible, we ought not to bring it back up because we've got, you know, maybe we're going outside the posting, and I'll admit I'm guilty of it, you know, because I just want the answer. But if I don't remember to ask them when they're down here, I probably shouldn't ask another question. So again, we want to, I think, maintain the structure of our decorum, which is conversations from the podium, conversation with that person. When we're done, we vote, we move on, and don't engage in additional conversations. I think it's the safest because we don't want to violate any open meetings failure to post issues. So that was just a simple commentary. Is everybody comfortable with that? Just my little comments on it? All right.
Another component on that is that they are recording, and so when they're speaking from back there and they're not at the mic, it's not getting picked up, and so it's not showing up at all. And like even with like earlier, I asked, you know, Ms. Bolden came up to speak. I said, you know, I pointed to the mic and said, you know, so she could be heard because you're not going to hear what she's saying. And I think that'd just be helpful for us.
So we'll move to B, which is public communicating and the discussion and kind of, I guess, have some discussion about the live streaming. And I think 2 board members requested this come up. And so I'll open the floor to questions or comments about live streaming.
Well, and I asked Brian, I think it's included in your packet. Brian is our guy. The technology that was set up in here, Brian knows about. And his biggest concern is that what we have capacity-wise here is not conducive. We can do the live streaming, but we have no delay at all. And so if you've got somebody on a tirade, ranting, you know, and they're throwing out, you know, expletives and all that, we have no way of delaying any of that. The other thing is if you have somebody who is up here, you know, basically bad-mouthing an employee, and we have no way of editing that out, and that's going out, that could set us up for potential lawsuit from the employee.
Do you mind if I come up real quick?
Yes.
And
All right, so
just to
we'll
kind of talk about that. I mean, I feel like my role in this is to talk about the risks and then just share the potential benefits of it as well. Mr. G is absolutely right. We can live stream these. The risks are, again, what Mr. G was just talking about. I think in some of these it could even be accidental. Someone presenting something that or saying names, student data, teacher data, employee data, something like that we wouldn't have control over because we don't have a delay on a live stream going out. The other risk is even in closed session is, you know, either due to human error or we don't know, would be having that be streamed when you don't want it. Now that one you could mitigate by leaving the room when, you know, just to be totally safe. And I'll tell you, when I say the risk is low, the other things, you know, we've been fortunate. I don't recall there being a thing where someone's been up here and being really, you know, shouting cuss words or anything like that. I don't think any data has been shared, but there have been a couple of times to where I've had to cut out some pieces of closed session before those have gone up to our recording, and just adjusting to the new system, forgetting, and it's just okay. Luckily, we have that out right now, but if that's live streaming, we would have to mitigate that risk some other way. Those are the risks. That's it. Apart from that, technically, it's pushing a button, and with even if we had the delay, there's still someone having to be vigilant. But we're already, with the presentations that we're doing, we've kind of you're seeing that we're bringing in 2 people to kind of manage some of this now, because it's just, you have to pay attention, and there's a lot of moving parts to it, so.
Back
there-
during COVID, we did live stream because it was required when we were shut down.
That's right.
We had to do it, but it was. and
We
you-
didn't
you
have
saw
the
it.
public comments either. It was not a live form. It was, but almost everyone, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that was another point that in my mind I wanted to bring up. During COVID, while we were live streaming that, we didn't have a choice, because these have to be public meetings, and that's what we did. The participants were limited. We really didn't have the public comments. I'm not sure I don't remember how we
They
handled
had
that.
to email them in, and then we
advance.
read them.
Yeah.
Had to read them.
So,
But also, I was just, it wasn't like when we were live streaming them, that all of a sudden, all these people started watching. You know,
That's where I was going
our-
next.
The people who participated
Yeah.
were still predominantly our employees, and it didn't increase.
no, and even then, there was one meeting where we had a significant number of viewers, and I don't remember, I don't remember what the topic was. Was it the masks?
Probably the
Yeah.
mask.
It was, I know it was related to either
Or the
masks or
meeting
coming
right
back
after.
to school
Right.
from virtual or something like that. It was a really big deal, and yeah, there was a lot of people. Apart from that, I wanna say there was under 10 that were watching a live stream at any given time. So when you take the risk and look at the benefit of who we're actually serving, how many people we're serving, based off of that data while we were in COVID, it wasn't, I don't know, maybe that could change, I don't know.
And we have to
It's up for y'all to
record, like,
decide.
audio of the board meetings. We do not have to record a video of the meetings, you know, by law. And so by
Yeah, that's
us
true.
recording and putting it out as we are now, we're going above and beyond what our size school district is required to do. So,
I also think it's really nice that now the recording of each meeting is, I mean,
It's going up quick.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not live, but you're seeing it very quickly.
We're turning it
once-
around much faster now, because we got Ms. Swarsky at the front desk involved, got a little extra help getting
Yeah.
that processed and done.
So that's,
and the one that
that's
didn't
great.
get posted, there was an issue where it had shut off, and it was a longer than normal, I guess, session, and it shut off, and it didn't trigger anything showing it didn't load or whatever, so.
Yeah,
that was
I don't remember.
Well, I brought it up, and I brought it up because I don't see why we're not doing it. And when we were really, wasn't able to go to one of the football games, and then I was at one of the football games, like,
Mhm.
wait a minute. If we can live stream a football game, we can live stream the meetings.
Yeah.
I thought at the beginning it was because we didn't have the ability to do it.
Mhm.
But now we have the ability to do it. And now we have, as you said, there are 2 people here. One can press pause, if one's not paying attention, the other one is. The likelihood of both of y'all not able to press whatever at the same time, I just think in this day and age, it's 2021, we should be streaming our meetings.
So just to clarify, because this is your decision to make, but when we say push pause, by the time, if there has been data shared up here, by the time we push pause, it's too late. So that's the thing to consider, because we don't have a
But
delay.
you're saying that hasn't
And-
happened.
Well, again.
And then
With
public
the
comments,
with
if we
recording.
have a belligerent audience,
Yeah,
and there's a history of that, then we should have an officer here.
sure,
Okay,
yeah.
again, I will give you
agreed.
I will give you a real world example. I have a client, completed a divorce. She's a teacher. Her husband is not happy with the decision the judge made. He started off and made statements to the district to force an investigation. They did an investigation. He doesn't like the outcome of the investigation. He shows up at a school board meeting and starts calling her out, calling her principal out by name, and they're saying, "Sir, you can't do that." And he says, "Oh, I apologize, I didn't know." And then immediately goes back to it. He's done it for 2 meetings now. Again, and it's live, it's out there. So, again, to me, the balance is, yes, I think the public should be informed, but that damaged her. She's been called in HR and says, probably, if we can't get this to stop, our option, you probably won't renew your contract. So, how many teachers, how many faculty, how many people do we potentially, when exposed to an angry parent, who, again, my job would be to say, "Sir, you can't do that,"
Yes.
but it's already happened.
And if it, like I said, if it's a repeat offender, or if they knew he did it the first time, there should have been someone, in my opinion, I wasn't there, I don't know the situation, but
But I
And
want you,
we're fortunate to where we haven't had
Yeah.
that, we don't have it, but if we do, there are school boards who have an officer
Well,
as
and
soon
that's
as you
another-
walk through
That's another
the.
issue, and especially now, and Round Rock just went through all this, where now, are you arresting people on live feed because you're not shutting it off? I mean, so,
I mean,
So
if
if
you're
they
really
need to
serious
be
about this is
arrested,
where we
then
need to
they
go,
need to be
I would
arrested.
suggest that we look at what would it cost to get a 2-minute delay built into our system? What would it cost to give us that protection that we should have for our staff? Get that information back and said, if it's a number we can tolerate, fine. But again, I am concerned because I have a client who's suffering. My wife teaches here, nobody, I mean, come and complain about her. I mean, I'm concerned that we can't pull back. Once it's gone out, it's gone out. And
Well, I'm good with you bringing that information.
Yeah, I guess I just wanna know what the cost of
Yeah.
that would be, and do you happen to know that by chance?
I do not. I would suggest, I'm not even gonna try to guess. We'll need to get a quote on it. Everything now is expensive and some of it's hard to get, but we'll have to take a look.
I don't know what our exposure is for a complaint by an angry husband or something, but we do owe them that protection. I mean, they signed a document, my information will not be released. We've given them that promise and protection, and then somebody else violates it.
So here's my question. Are we exposing them to risk that other teachers aren't being exposed to? I mean, other districts? Because if what we're asking, Brian come up with information is just what everybody else is doing, what's standard operating procedure. I don't think we should be afraid of that information.
Does your district do that?
I'm just saying,
It's
to us, it's,
Ours is live too.
our constitution said that, we'll let 10 guilty people go before we convict one innocent. I think the same thing, we ought to build in place a protocol that protects the innocent from that one person who may abuse it. At least figure out what it's gonna cost to do that. I think that's our responsibility. So, I mean, go ahead.
Do we have any idea how many people would use it?
Based off of the numbers from last year, under 10 or so, I mean, it was, those numbers were very low, except for that one, it was very high.
Are we
But,
getting people, are there other people, constituents that are saying,
Yes.
I would do this?
The question is,
Have they ever been to a meeting?
why? Why are your meetings not live streamed? Why can I not watch what's going on? Why do I have to wait a day? Well, in this instance, it's a day, and that's good. I'm like, why are you complaining about a day? It used to be a week, it used to be
Yeah,
2 weeks.
it used to be a while.
It used to be a very long time, so that's what started this whole, why is it not live streamed? Well, we didn't have the technology, but now, once again, if I'm sitting in a football game and I'm watching the game on my phone, we can't really say it's the technology. But you're saying it's in this building, perhaps, so, yes, the questions are, why are
more the
our meetings
liability.
not?
With the live stream football game, we don't have the liability that we would have.
And if
Yeah.
you listen to the football
agree with
game,
that.
you hear the people filming it, talking amongst themselves too.
We're filming it. The
So we've had to be
district's
very, we've had to
And
be
I
very
still hear
careful
filming it. Oh,
with kids.
they're, okay, well, the district's filming it. And the liability,
I just want us to make sure that if we do it, that we provide protection if we can to protect our employees and their confidentiality and our students and, again, and again, the reverse of the question you ask is, what, the person who wants it live streamed, what's the benefit they're not here? Are they not participating in the meeting? They have the information instantaneously, which is what our society wants. What's the benefit to them?
they know what's going on. Well, I can't speak for them, I don't know.
I don't know, I'm just
But I
trying-
can
I'm
just,
trying
the
to balance it out.
conversation is,
I have a question.
in 2021, why are your meetings not live? Why can I just tune in and watch this snippet? I know you're gonna talk about this, I wanna hear what's going on, and if I can wash the dishes and participate and view the meeting, as opposed to me waiting a day. In this instance, a day is good, based on what it's been. A day is great improvement, and we've gotten feedback on, I like the way the turnaround, but once again, why can I not tune in and live? So,
I have a question. If we're looking into what would a 2-minute delay look like, okay, I like to always think of every angle and play devil's advocate. What would constitute us going up and pausing and saying, we're gonna, this recording is like, who's gonna come up with that list and why would, I feel like that almost, say someone starts to go off, we've seen all those viral videos and all these school board meetings all over the country the last several months. I feel like someone might say, well, why did you stop and what, I just think that's gonna open up a whole nother thing of, well, how come these other
Freedom of
districts,
speech to be
freedom of
heard.
speech, and you cut me off, and I was trying to prove a point, and,
Well, but they,
But
but they're
allowed.
making, but they're
Have to be here
making
to
their
do that,
point
so
to
they
us.
oh, I get it, I know, I'm just saying, I can just see us then having to sit and have this meeting on, well, what are we gonna cut someone off from, and what are we gonna stop a recording about, and what are
Sensitive
we.
information.
I think, again, we can define
Sensitive
what that is.
information.
That's
The
it,
point
the
is, you know,
student
Someone's
information,
name, yep.
the stuff that we were just talking about, that kind of stuff, that really shouldn't be up here being blasted out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the main
I mean,
risk
I think
is
it's easy to
private
trigger. I mean,
information,
it would be
that's
my
right.
responsibility, or whoever's running the meeting, to say, that information is not allowable in public. Just so you know, don't do it, and we're gonna ask that portion be redacted, but the remainder of your comments will continue.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think we can cover it. I just wanna afford to make sure that we've looked at the possibility of trying to make that protection available for our employees.
I hear it, I'm just trying to make sure we come down the road, we've got it, and then we have to decide what all is gonna be stopped and cut off, and,
Again, we don't
Yeah.
want somebody talking about a kid and then his names and what he did.
Definitely.
And so we have to,
definitely.
I want us to
That's a
make
big
it.
one. You
Yeah.
know, An upset parent that's upset about some other person's kid and they
Yes.
come up and then that's not good.
Okay, so, right now, he's gonna look and see what our options are, give us some
Very
pricing
Sure.
options, and see
Yeah,
what it's gonna cost.
absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you, Brian.
so, other than that, there's,
Cool.
is there any other conversation we wanna have with regard to public communications or any issues?
Quick question, if we're not meeting here and we're meeting somewhere else, what happens to the live stream?
You know, live stream, if we don't,
If
like
we don't have the
meet at
equipment to do
library,
it.
we don't have the equipment to do it.
would be another
That's,
Breaking the rule.
yeah.
That'd be another thing to consider, though, is we just have to set, in my mind, we would have to set, it's a best effort type service. It can't be guaranteed, but then, you know, it's also, these videos are best effort, yet it's really not, they're expected, so
What
that's
happens
just
if
another thing to
technology
consider,
fails?
And you don't record.
yeah. But if we do have it in another place, then,
you have-
we can't record video in the other places either, so there's, you know, we're kind of already dealing with some of that.
Well, I
So-
mean, like the one when we met at the junior high, you put up
Right.
audio of it,
There's the audio,
With the-
yeah.
floating.
Yeah, it just, we wouldn't really get to live stream that, even live streaming audio if it's at the junior high or in another location, we wouldn't really get to.
I think everybody here wants us to do our very best to provide as much information as time as we can. I mean, but again, our society expects everything in an instant, and that's fine, but there are dangers with that. All right, so, future meetings, the only thing to talk about is we have a meeting scheduled for December 16, 2021. Is everybody available? That's right before Christmas break, probably. Will that work for everybody?
Moment.
Are there any issues coming
I
up?
think it's already on my calendar and I think I blocked it off.
Okay.
Of course, I know I did, but,
Okay.
Yeah, that's our regular meeting.
And again, I don't think there's any, if there are any issues with Tracy in terms of anything sensitive that we have to get done before the holidays or the break, just make sure we'll talk about it, make sure it's available on the 16th. Okay. Any other items to discuss amongst the board? Then I will actually entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, so we can get up out of here.
Motion by Mr. Glover,
Second.
second by Ms. Moody. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I don't hear any no's. That's unanimous. Thank you very much for your effort.